Here are 15 of the best Ask Reddit stories for today. I hope you enjoy and remember to subscribe. It really helps us out. We post new videos every day.
Which Mandela effect messed your head up the most? The Monopoly guy not having a monocle. C-3PO has one silver leg. Every costume gets this wrong. The fact that there is no record of Tinkerbell ever appearing in the beginning of Disney movies, drawing the logo, and dotting the I with her wand before flying off screen. 6 people in JFK car on the day he got assassinated. I still think it was 4. Fruit Loops. They were Fruit Loops when I was a kid. I swear. Okay, hear me out. First of all, in Brazil you typically don't go to school, middle school or high school, doesn't matter, for the whole day. You are in school either in the morning, usually 7:30 a.m. to noon, or in the afternoon, usually 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Every single person who was a kid in Brazil, and was not in school in the mornings, when 9/11 happened remembers watching Dragon Ball Z and having it be interrupted for the breaking news of the attacks. And I mean everyone. It comes up every time someone asks what were you doing when 9/11 happened. Except DBZ wasn't on at that time. Someone checked the airing times and compared to the time when the attacks happened. Definitely not on. Still, a whole generation of kids is 100% sure they were watching DBZ when the news broke out.
What's the saddest card declined moment you've seen? Back in 1999, I was fairly fresh out of high school and working at McDonald's as an order taker, cashier. One day I had a woman come through my drive-thru asking about the price of the different Happy Meals. I could see from the look in her eyes that something was bothering her. Our drive-thru mic was broken at the time. I asked if she was okay, and she replied that it was her 6-year-old son's birthday and he was in the hospital. She then settled on the hamburger Happy Meal. She said that it was all she could afford. She pulled out her card and attempted to pay. That's when she saw the dreaded reply, decline. I looked back at her and saw the look of utter defeat as she could not even get her son a Happy Meal. I then asked her what her son's favorite Happy Meal was. She then proceeded to ask why. I told her that I had just gotten paid and would take care of it. From our earlier conversation I could tell that it was the chicken nugget Happy Meal. I quickly changed the order, pulled out my card and paid. I told her don't worry about it and she could go around the corner and get the meal. She said a very heartfelt thank you and I responded, it was my pleasure and that I hope your son gets well soon. I found out after that she was bawling her eyes out at the next window. My manager asked her what was wrong and she told them what I had done and then she told them that she had been going through a rough time, and this was the first good thing to happen to her in days.
Redditors who grew up filthy rich, what did you think was normal till you learned otherwise? My family was broke as hell, but my mom was, and still is, a teacher at this really nice private school which was the only reason my brother and I could attend. Everyone's parents were doctors and lawyers, they had a lot of money, they used to go on school trips and spend hell a lot of money there. You get the idea, but my brother and I were being raised by a single mom who had just relocated. We were living in a trailer park in the middle of nowhere for the cheap-ass rent. We didn't always know when the next meal was coming. One day, during lunch, the kids noticed that all I have is a peanut butter sandwich and a tiny bag of pretzels. One dude says, "Wow, you must really not be hungry." Since I was 6 and just as clueless to any other lifestyle as he was, I just straight up told him, "We don't have any more food." I had to explain it a couple of times before he realized. Lunch bro sheepishly asks if I would like some of his food. That orange and baggie of Cheetos were the start of a now 20-year-long friendship. Had my first hookup since losing my wife. It's been over 2 years since I lost her. And TBHI, 29M, didn't think I'd ever have it in myself to be with another person. For the last month I've tried putting myself out there. Last night I was at the bar with some friends. He introduced me to his friend Addie. She was really nice, very pretty too. We hit it off. Like while most of our friends decided to go dance for a little bit, we stayed in the bar area just talking about everything. It was so nice. Honestly, I just wanted us to keep talking once we were all about to leave, so that's when me and her decided to go eat something. But after I really wanted her, so I decided to shoot my shot and asked if she wanted to come over to my place. She said yes. We ate some breakfast earlier when we woke up before she left. But she also left me her number so we can hang out again if I want to. The whole experience has me feeling like I'm in HS again and just got my first kiss. It's crazy. It does feel like a long time since I've felt this excited about someone. Can't stop looking at her number in my contacts and smiling. As a teenager, what was the worst thing your parents ever walked in on you doing? Oh god, time to tell this story. So basically, my girlfriend at the time and I were home alone, and started watching a movie. We got to the part of the movie where both of our shirts are off and her pants are down around her ankles when suddenly we hear a car pull up in the driveway. We were on the couch in my TV room, which is pretty much right off the main entrance. Scramble, shirts get back on just in time, but with my entire family crashing into the room, the pants are still firmly south of the border. Fortunately, we're both still under a blanket with the movie on. Somewhat less fortunately, we're watching some Disney movie, so everyone is sticking around. The lights are off, So it's not super obvious just how guilty we look, and while everyone is distracted we pretend to be looking at something on my phone while typing out a plan to each other. Plan initiated. I drop my phone, and in the process of retrieving it, grab her pants and bring them up to her knees. She then stretches out, letting me pull pants up to about mid-thigh level. So far so good. Now for the hard part. We wait about 5 minutes for a big song, so everyone is distracted looking at the screen and singing along. She stands up, and in the same motion I pull her pants the rest of the way up, and she quickly goes into the bathroom to put everything in order. Nobody seems to notice. Crisis averted. What hasn't changed in the past 1,000 years? The humble axe. While the axe did go through several major design shifts over the course of human history, by the time we get to 1022, we had already settled on a more or less straight haft with a head made of iron steel, with an opening or eye that the haft goes through. If you walked into any big box hardware store and bought a Collins axe and then took it back to 1022 and showed it to someone, they'd think the style was strange and they'd be astonished to find that the whole head was made of steel, but that's it. They'd be all, yeah, that's an axe, obviously from some foreign country where everyone's rich, but it's just an axe. What instantly makes a girl hot? I started dating a girl who would dress in fancy clothes and seemed a little uptight. When I took her home one night, her dad met up with us with their golden retriever. The dog got really happy and started bouncing and it got dirt all over the girl's fancy clothes. The girl just laughed and started playing with the dog. That made her very attractive. Just being herself and not caring about little stuff. Sounds like a fake answer, but really showing genuine interest is just about the hottest thing you can do. We want to feel wanted. Went out on a date with a woman. We got drunk and came back to mine for a nightcap and she saw my chess set. She coyly asked to play a game, where she proceeded to destroy me. Sexy as fuck. A sense of humor. I used to be a waiter and I was serving a girl and her mom. This girl was kind of pretty but not really my type. By the end of me waiting on her, from all her jokes and everything, I thought she was insanely attractive. Then she mentioned her boyfriend. People of Reddit, what is your downright scariest real-life story? I used to sleepwalk when I was a child. We lived in a rough neighborhood and I would wake up outside in the middle of the night, not knowing how I got there, and would have to walk home and walk into the darkened doorway I had left wide open for whoever might be lurking around. However, the time that scared me the most was when I was about 9 years old. I woke up and found myself with the bedroom curtains drawn back and staring out the window. As I came awake, I noticed a very large and completely hairless man. No hair, eyebrows etc., staring at me and slowly inching closer to the window and closer to my face. He was looking bewildered, like he wasn't sure what he was seeing. At that moment, I realized what was going on and I started screaming uncontrollably, frozen in place and peeing down my leg. The man freaked out and screamed, did a tumbling move, and then ran off in a weird zigzag like he was trying to dodge bullets. My mom woke up and thought I probably had a nightmare. The next morning we found a screwdriver on the front porch and damage to the door jamb and door handle. I still just about pee my pants when I tell that story, but now it is usually from laughing. I will never forget the look on his face when I started coming to life and screaming, or his high-pitched scream, or his duck and roll and dodging and bobbing all the way down the street. People who sleep naked, when has it backfired? Not me, but I was spending the night at my friend's house in a suburban neighborhood. In the middle of the night his mom had let their toy fox terrier out to go pee and it got snatched by a coyote. She screamed and woke us all up. A wolf got noodle. Within 10 seconds his dad was sprinting out of the house completely butt-ass naked with a Glock in his hand and went running down the street. Came back about 15 minutes later with the dog and obviously still completely naked. There was one morning in high school when my dad decided to wake me up for school by ripping the covers off me in bed. That was the last time that happened. I locked myself out of my flat while sleepwalking once. My girlfriend was on holiday so I had to wait until morning, borrow a towel off a neighbor and then walk about a mile up the road to the estate agent to get a spare key. What is the most effed up thing a person you know has done? My uncle left my aunt for their son's wife. Friend was in her final year of uni. Had strong grades, and a really great internship lined up with a place she dreamed about working at, that almost certainly would have led to a great job. Her parents faked her younger brother's death on the day where she had 3 finals back to back to back. They wanted to test whether she cared more about her family or her career, supposedly. She raced home in panic and grief, getting plane tickets and flying across the country, trying to get deferred exams on short notice. One of her profs, who helmed 2 of those classes, required a death certificate, which she couldn't get, since her brother was alive and well. She didn't get to graduate because of that, at least not in that semester, and she lost her dream internship.
You choose money or happiness?
Sleep.
Police officers, What's the dumbest thing you've ever seen a criminal do or say? Retired cop here. Boy, do I have stories. One dumbass move a guy did was he steals some poor girl's car. It was her first car, she worked full-time, was a sweet little thing, and we felt so bad, she was crushed. Also in the car for some reason was her cell phone. So a colleague who has the gift of talking shit really well calls the number. Dude answers. It goes a little something like this. Cop motherfucker, you stole my girlfriend's car. Bad guy bitch, I will fuck you up then fuck your bitch. Cop, bring it motherfucker. No cops, no friends, me and you, I'm at the Chevron on Main Street and 5th. Pussy, I'm calling your bitch ass out. Bad guy bitch, I'm on my way. Click. Me no fucking way has coming. Dude rounded the corner and pulls into the gas station. We hit our cars behind it, and then when he parked we boxed him in. He had a gun too. Fucking idiot. On probation, had a loaded gun. Came to us. What is the scariest story you know that is 100% true? John List killed his whole family, wife, mother, daughter and 2 sons. He meticulously planned the whole thing, canceling all delivery services, excusing the kids from school, and even turned the air conditioning as low as possible to preserve the bodies for as long as possible. After he killed them all, he placed the bodies in sleeping bags and lined them up. He then wrote a letter to his pastor explaining why he had to kill them. He then leaves and isn't heard from again. 18 years later he's remarried and doing the same job as before, but this time he doesn't have any children. He's finally arrested after a tip was given to the FBI. Crazy thing is that because he planned it so well, the bodies weren't discovered until a month after the murder, so he had a huge head start and essentially started a new life in the same career and was heavily involved in a new church down in Virginia. Took 18 years to capture him.
What is not a bullet you dodged, but a huge tactical nuke you dodged? My wife dragged my ass to the dermatologist for a cyst I have had for years. While there, the doc noticed a mole on my ankle that he didn't like. Turned out to be melanoma. Would have never gone if my wife didn't force me. I was engaged to someone. But then came to my senses and broke it off. 9 months later I found out she got married to someone else. Then about 1 year after that she killed her husband. On a road trip in college with 4 friends. We stopped halfway for a pit stop because I had explosive diarrhea and was getting more sick by the minute. Friends carried on to Vegas and left me with one of the guys who rented us a car to return home. The friends that carried on got into a rollover. 1 died. 2 will be injured for life. What's a story you've been wanting to tell but no one has asked yet? A few years ago my boyfriend and I were handing out candy on Halloween night. We were running low, so my boyfriend left to go buy more. A few minutes after he left the house he called me and told me that a little kid with the best train costume ever would be coming to the door soon, but that he's Oliver and not Thomas the Tank Engine. The kid had been crying to his dad that everyone thought he was Thomas the Tank Engine. A few minutes later the kid shows up in the coolest train costume ever. The costume is made out of cardboard, and it's literally the whole train with a kid in the middle. It even had an area in the chimney/spout that opened and you put the candy in. I opened the door and I'm all like, OMG, Oliver the Tank Engine. I love Oliver, has my favorite. And the kid just lost it. So did his dad. He was so freaking happy that I knew he was Oliver and not Thomas. His dad was filming everything and looked so happy/shocked that I knew he was Oliver. As they were walking away I kept hearing the kid say to his dad she knew I was Oliver. She knew I was Oliver. I effing closed the door and cried. It was so precious.
What's the best roast you heard someone say in school? There was a special needs kid in my class, no clue what he had exactly, but guessing some autism. My class was small and no one bothered him. Kind of a dick move to bully a challenged kid, that is, except for one girl in my class. She thought she was hot shit, and granted she was pretty and came from money. She had a known habit of inviting less attractive classmates to take pictures with her so she could look more attractive in social media posts, and yes, she directly said this to several people. Anyhow, she bragged about how she was going to ask the special kid to prom as a joke/make herself look like a nice person, and everyone thought it was really bitchy, but no one really did anything about it. When she asked the kid in a public scene, this kid turned and flatly said, "No, thank you, you're a slut." I'm not a big fan of saying stuff like that, but it was hilarious, and for once in her life she seemed mortified.